Hello class, my name is Quinlan Gauna, and today I chose to do my engineering design presentation on wildfires. So we've all seen the massive wildfires that occur in our country, especially in California. We've seen, I'm sure you all have seen them on the news or on other social media platforms, and they cause a lot of destruction to property and to homes, and they also are responsible for killing many people, whether they be firefighters or people who are in the proximity of the fire. Some of the current solutions to wildfires that are out there right now are things like deforestation, using fire retardant, and creating fire lines. The problem with these is, especially deforestation, it's very costly and time consuming and difficult to implement. Fire retardants, the problem with that, they're very useful, but many environmental restrictions impair their usage, and they're also difficult to deliver effectively. Fire lines, they're in principle, they're an idea. They're very good because they're creating a break in the in the fuel between the fuel and the fire. But the problem is that to create these, you have to risk many lives of firefighters, and that's often what ends up killing firefighters in wildfire situations. So my proposed solution would be to create preferably an unmanned aerial vehicle that would be capable of producing shock waves, um, flying in extreme heat and at low altitude to combat wildfires. The reason being is I want to utilize shock waves create to create a force to blow the fire off of the fuel so that we could create a break in the fire triangle, which is oxygen, fuel, and heat, which are the three things that are necessary for a fire to occur. And so by removing one of those, you break the triangle and put out the fire essentially. This idea was tested on a smaller scale by Dr. Graham Boyd. Yeah, he's a PhD researcher. He observed that with the sudden change in pressure caused by the shock wave, that the impulse of air could blow the fuel off, could blow the flame off the fuel source, so that it would stop burning. The reasons the vehicle needs to operate in extreme heat is because around fires it's very hot, and many of our aerial vehicles right now have a certain operating temperature range where they are unable to operate if it rises above it, just due to the mechanics and the parts put into it just can't function at higher temperatures. And it would need to be able to travel at low altitude so that the shock wave would be most effective, close to the fire as it can be, so that we get the most effect for it. And for my conclusion, future use in it probably wouldn't happen because of the major cost that it represents. For major cost of producing drones and aerial vehicles like this is millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it would be more likely that they would use existing fighter jets to test it. Some possible issues in my design is this hasn't been tested on a larger scale, and we don't know what the exact dimensions would be to create the favorable conditions of this shockwave. So it would require further testing and research before a final design could be approved and utilized. And then there's my works cited, and that's all I have for this.